Did you hear Politically Provoked is uncritically interviewing Richard Spencer right now? Really? There's a reason I turned down so many debate requests from Politically Provoked because I got like big covert Nazi vibes from them, and then that all proved to be true. Hold on, I just want to peek for a second. Well, just a little peek, okay? Just a little.
This time it will work. This time we're going to reach the normies or going to launch a populist revival or something.
Give me the vibes.
I just don't buy any of this. And I don't want to be a...
Bro, been wearing the same shirt 3 days in a row. They're all different shirts. I just have literally hundreds of the same shirt, you know?
Part of that. So if I were to enter, it would have to be on very different terms.
So would you still classify yourself as a white nationalist then?
Well, I mean, I don't really buck that term because it's a overall fair term. I don't think it's that term itself.
Why does he sound like a fucking NPR host? You know what I mean? He sounds like somebody who would wear turtlenecks and reads like one book every 3 days. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the wind's been kicked out of him.
Is just meant to demean someone. It's not like calling someone a maniac, or exactly a commie or something. But I've never really liked that term. I preferred identitarian for a while. I don't quite know if anything I would...
Wait, what does he mean he never liked that term? Wasn't he very particular when talking with the media that he wasn't a white supremacist, he was a white nationalist? Didn't he use that term like very specifically to self-define? Yeah. Okay, just a minute more.
An Apollonian, but it's, although that would be that would be exceedingly esoteric at the moment, but it's I'm not interested in just a purely racialized politics of we whites, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make this. We're gonna get our guy in there, elect him president, and then it's just gonna be fun, and the libs will be crying. I'm just really not interested in any of that stuff anymore.
Is that because you find it a losing battle now?
I do find it a losing battle, but I also find it kind of very discouraging, kind of almost depressing. It is dumb at the end of the day. And it's not something that if I were coming to this when I was a young, more idealistic person wanting to dedicate my life to something, I would not.
Yeah, back when I was a young idealistic lad fighting earnestly for the Fourth Reich, everything seemed so bright. But now I'm old and I'm compromising, and it's just, everything just seems a little bit darker. Oh my God, the donos! Hold on, I'll take a look at those shortly.
Not want to dedicate my life to what the alt-right is now.
So what would you say as far as immigration and the possibility, which is more than possible, that white people will become the minority? Do you worry about that?
By the way, this was the left-wing host. Brittany was supposed to be the left-wing host. By the way, neo-Nazi, how do you feel about the very real fact that soon whites will become a minority in their own country?
Well, it's not ideal, but if something is inevitable, then you have to face it and understand how we're going to work beyond this. There was a window that is now long closed, in which you could say we're going to just dramatically reduce immigration. We might even go back to a preference system modeled on the 1924 Act, where we're going to preference the people who are like the people who are already here. Now we're over the Rubicon on this. Even if you were to say we want to maintain America as it is, that would imply large scale immigration from the non-European world. And as you said, that 2050 date was put forward by Bill Clinton in the 90s.
Credit where credit's due. Richard Spencer is still like the master of saying Nazi shit in the most innocuous possible language. That's why he got his kicks, to begin with. Where he's like, it's not ideal, and you know, maybe for a brief window of time, we might have been able to achieve an older immigration model with prioritization for, you know, the demographics that are already here. And, like, what he's talking about is the creation of an ethno-state, fundamentally. But, like, he couches it in that language. That's why you got to look past tone.
And it's been pushed up. And I think it's also been complicated in a lot of different ways through intermarriage, which is on the rise, particularly through white and Hispanic intermarriage, through people no longer identifying as white, even though they are whitish or mostly white. These things have become more complicated. And I would also say this to a lot of people who just, they think that almost if you could just stop immigration, that all of these problems are going to disappear. Like if you stop immigration, those, you know, people doing the BLM riots, it would almost be like Avengers Endgame. They just dissolve into dust. And
it's almost like talking about changing the demographics of immigration was a dog whistle for a broader political project of ethnic cleansing in our own country, you know? It is interesting how people would talk about immigration when referring to BLM, considering that the black people protesting at BLM have probably been in this country longer than a lot of the white people invoking those criticisms. So it does make you think a little bit, you know? A lot of the black people here in America are descendant hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So yeah, like, are we talking about immigration or are we talking about something else?
You know, so on. That's not going to happen. All of these these cultural, social transformations are occurring without regard to large-scale Hispanic immigration. And if anything, many Hispanics are a kind of retarding agent to that. And it's not about them, to put it bluntly. And so I don't think any of these problems are going to be solved by just shutting off immigration. And again, I don't think that's going to happen anyway. Another aspect of this, which is important.
I do love the people in chat who are Pepe posting through him describing a policy of ethnic cleansing and then get offended when he says retarded. Like, where it's so aesthetic where your limits are, you know what I mean? It's like, I can't believe this neo-Nazi used ableist language. Come on, guys. Jeez. I know what you mean, but from the outside, it really makes it seem like you don't really care that much about the dog whistling, but then when he says the R slur, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Is that the transformation of the country to a 2050 America has already occurred on the elite level.
Oh, damn. Brittany made a Fuentes 6 million cookies joke. Take the red pill, we have cookies. Trust me, I've taken quite a few red pills lately, and a couple of black ones. I was told there'd be cookies, instead everyone arguing about how many. Some say 6 million, others say not so much. Wacky crazy face. Now I'm depressed. Life was way more simple before the red pill. Fascinating. Wacky crazy face. Did she type this up on Xanax? It just feels like this was typed while slumped into the keyboard. Left-wing host, yeah.
So recently, Princeton announced that I think 65% of its incoming class were people of color of some form. And what does that mean? Does that mean African Americans? Not necessarily. Does that mean foreign students?
It means
does that
non-white
mean people who are biracial? It means all of it, but it's not a non-white base.
Non-white.
And if you look at Hollywood films or local news channels or television advertising, that transformation is already in place on that elite level, and we're just kind of waiting for the demographics to catch up.
No.
And so again, this idea of changing these things.
I'm pretty sure that mainstream Hollywood movies are still majority white. Not only are they majority white, I think they're disproportionately white, you know? If you take a look at who the protagonists of mainstream movies are, I think it's like overwhelmingly white dudes. And then if you take a look at the broader composition of the movie and weigh it by their like relation to the plot, you still get a huge overrepresentation of white people, you know? I think, but The Rock, Yeah, I guess if you count The Rock as non-white, which it's true, he's not white, then the demographics do skew a little bit. But again, when I see him, nothing. Never mind. We've gone down this road before.
Things or just making them go away through immigration reform. I've for a long time I found to be totally fantastical.
Do you think that like it's because Trump basically failed at accomplishing that? Like he was the last hope of making that happen, and because he wasn't able to do it, there's just really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of baked in before Trump. And remember, a lot of these really crazy left-wing trends have been amplified throughout the Trump era. Transgenderism being an excellent example. Just the whole woke SJW stuff. That's all gotten more intense, even with Trump in office and a Republican.
True,
Congress.
We're winning.
And so clearly failed. And I do think he, at the very least, fumbled the ball on like real clear policy things. But maybe that whole strategy was a loser to begin with.
Some people say that with how divided
more,
our nation is, that we could be heading towards some sort of secession at some point. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. And I would say that because this is not Czechoslovakia in the early 90s, where there can be linguistic differences. There are linguistic differences in the United States, or ethnic or racial differences, and we can just kind of agree to disagree and separate like that. I don't see anything like that, because to go back to what I was saying before, America is not Czechoslovakia. It's not Finland. It's not just some little country out there that has racial and cultural diversity. It is the big kahuna around the planet. And the idea that Washington would be like, oh, well, we're just kind of polarized right now, so why don't we just let Montana go free? You know, I was actually doing an interesting thing out in eastern Montana this summer, where my children and I were actually looking for dinosaur bones. But putting that aside, we drove by a nuclear silo facility. The notion that Washington, the unipolar hyperpower of the planet, would allow a state to just walk, a state in which there might very well be multiple military bases.
Is this like hardcore doomer posting for the Nazis who are watching? It seems like Richard Spencer doesn't actually like believe there's any road forward for his project, which cool. You know, like I'm just wondering, like, is he yeah, I just wonder, like, what's the plan, Stan? You know? Yeah, he took the red pill, black pill. Isn't this guy a wife beater? Richard Spencer? Maybe. If he is, I don't know. It wouldn't exactly be out of line with the profile of a white nationalist. Yeah, his wife left him. Did his wife talk about that? Was there like a court document or something, or testimony provided? I don't know. Anyway, I guess it's all over. Why are we talking about Richard Spencer? I don't know. I said somebody linked the live stream. He's getting interviewed by people who pretend to be left-leaning.
Think are
complete. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like wave a Bible and say they're going to hell or something, but I think that concept of dysphoria, the idea that you feel like you aren't in your body.
Wait, what did she laugh at?
I think that concept of dysphoria, the idea, I feel like you guys might get banned for that.
God. Okay, that's fair.
I mean, it's something that I say, that I think that race is a biological reality, that it's important and it matters. Then yes, I'm a race realist. Sure.
Okay. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on Caitlyn Jenner running for office?
Well, that doesn't seem to be going very well.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a truly bizarre thing. I mean, I don't know if I want to talk about the transgender issue more broadly. I feel like you guys might get banned for that.
Wait, I just want to hear.
God. Okay, that's fair.
I mean, it's something that I have thought about, but how do I'm genuinely afraid to not get you. Yeah, I'm not gonna like wave a Bible and say they're going to hell or something, but I think that concept of dysphoria, the idea that you feel like you aren't in your body, kind of in a way. You know, like I think that actually is an expression of just a much broader unfitness, you could say, where we don't belong. We're not meant to live like this, and we are mentally ill because of this. And
here's the real question, okay? When are people going to talk about ethnostate dysphoria, where people who think they should be in a white ethnostate aren't, and they take action to try to align the disconnect between their ideal and reality? That's the real question, okay? DSM-6, where are you at, okay? There are people out here struggling, and they need help. Sorry. All right, we had our fun. Oh, God. Sorry, I don't know. There's just some kind of grim fascination with the career arc Richard Spencer has taken. He was already on the decline back when I started my channel, so... New poll reveals percentages of Americans who want to secede based on region. I wouldn't take these too seriously. There's a really big difference between, like, people saying they want to secede and people being willing to accept the political consequences of secession, which would be warfare, by the way. I don't, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it means that much. You know? It's never going to happen. There's never going to be a secession, ever. As long as the United States of America is not in a state of utter and absolute disrepair. I mean, we're talking like... we're talking like we get nuked, or a tsunami rolls from the East Coast to the West, or some shit like that. There is no way the government is going to let any state secede. And I just realized I didn't take my fucking meth again.